I get asked a lot in the spring and throughout the year, what do my horses need for vaccinations? And I feel that depending on what you do with your horse is how we determine what they need for vaccines. We have a basic set of vaccines in Iowa, in this area, includes a sleeping sickness and tetanus, and that's eastern and western sleeping sickness, and tetanus, and we see rabies in this area, so I certainly want to do rabies. And the other vaccine that I use is West Nile. And because here 10 years ago we had the West Nile outbreak and everybody vaccinated for a few years, we started to think that maybe that had gone away. But in the last 2 years, we've seen it jump out at us again, and actually this summer we've had several cases of West Nile in horses in Iowa. So those are the basic important vaccines for every horse. Sleeping sickness, that's eastern and western, tetanus, and rabies and West Nile. Then on our show horses and horses traveling and horses that aren't just on a farm, I think it's important to give flu and rhino. The shot that I usually recommend in the spring of the year includes the flu and rhino with the sleeping sickness, tetanus, and the West Nile. They're all in one shot. If you're really hauling and showing, I feel that when you hit midsummer, if you have a little break sometime in July and you've given your first shots in April or May, some give them a little earlier if they're going showing, but April, May is when most of them, March to May is when most first shots get given. About 3 months later, if you're going to go for the fall fraternities and all that, I like to use another influenza and rhino booster. And what I have used and have thought has really been effective in our practice was to go with the intranasal, the Flu-Avert intranasal, up the nose influenza vaccine, and then I use the modified live rhino vaccine. And when we've done that, we seem to keep these horses healthy throughout the fraternity and fall time. So, and then as far as the worming is concerned, I feel that, and there's some new thoughts on worming. One is that you should only worm horses as they need it, and you should do fecal exams to know when they need it. And that's fine if you want to go through that. Otherwise, our old recommendation was to worm most type horses in this state 4 times a year for adults, winter, spring, summer, and fall, and usually twice a year make sure you get the bots, and the other 2 times a year make sure you get, especially in the young horses, any roundworms or ascarids out of them.